Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a really wild story where the planet itself decided to connect two continents in a pretty spectacular way. So let me ask you a question. Could a volcano in Africa actually create clouds over India? I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie, right? But believe it or not, this just happened. Let's dig into how on Earth that's even possible. Okay, get this. 12,000 years. That is an incredibly long time. And that's exactly how long this giant volcano in Ethiopia was just sleeping. It's been quiet since the end of the last ice age. And then on November 23rd, it woke up. And I mean, it really woke up. The Haile-Gubbi volcano just blasted this enormous column of ash and gas 15 kilometers straight into the sky. To put that in perspective, that's way up in the stratosphere, right where airplanes fly. It literally punched a hole through our normal weather. All right, so once all that ash and gas got way up there, it was basically caught by this super fast highway in the sky. This was no longer just some local problem in Ethiopia. Nope, this cloud was about to go on a seriously epic journey. Imagine a river, but in the sky. These super strong, high-altitude winds grabbed the cloud and just took off. It traveled an incredible 4,500 kilometers in only 2 days. Think about that. It zipped from Ethiopia right across the Arabian Peninsula, showed up over northern India, and then kept on going towards China. Just amazing. And we're not talking about a little puff of smoke here. The sheer size of this thing is, well, it's hard to wrap your head around. It grew to cover 5.4 million square kilometers. That's almost as big as the entire continent of Australia, a continent-sized cloud of ash. Okay, so this brings up a huge question, right? Why now? Why did this volcano decide to erupt after being dormant for 12,000 years? Well, to find the answer, we have to look deep, deep down, right under our feet. It all comes down to something called plate tectonics, and honestly, it's a pretty cool idea. The easiest way to think about it is that the Earth's surface isn't one solid piece. It's actually like a giant cracked eggshell or a jigsaw puzzle, with all these huge pieces that are always moving around. Here's a super simple way to picture it. Think about boiling a pot of milk. You've got the hot, bubbling milk underneath, right? That's like the molten magma inside the Earth. And then you get that layer of cream on top. Well, that's like the Earth's crust. As the milk boils, it pushes up and eventually cracks the cream to bubble through. That's exactly what magma does. It builds up pressure, finds a weak spot in the crust, and boom, an eruption. So this volcano, Haile-Gubbi, is in a really special place called the East African Rift Zone. And what's happening there is wild. You have 3 of those giant puzzle pieces, the Nubian, Arabian, and Somali plates, all pulling away from each other. They're literally ripping the continent apart, which makes the crust super thin, kind of like stretching a piece of taffy. And that thin spot, it's the perfect escape route for magma. So what was the final push? The thing that finally set it off? Scientists think it was a domino effect. See, another volcano nearby, Ale, had erupted back in July, and that little rumble probably caused just enough of a shift in pressure underground. It was like tapping the first domino in a long line. Just a tiny nudge, but it was enough to finally pop the cork on all that pressure that had been building under Haile-Gubbi for thousands of years. Okay, let's get back to our giant cloud. As this thing, packed with ash and sulfur dioxide, starts drifting over towards India, you can imagine people were getting, well, a little worried. What was this thing going to do when it got there? And you started seeing headlines pop up. The biggest fear was about air quality. I mean, parts of northern India already have some serious struggles with pollution, so the last thing they needed was a giant volcanic cloud dumping even more gunk into the air for millions of people to breathe. But, and this is the really good news, the scary pollution spike never actually happened. Why? Because the cloud was just too high up. Remember, it was 15 kilometers up in the sky, so it basically had zero effect on the air down here where we all live and breathe. The danger just sailed right on by, way over our heads. Now, one thing that is a big deal is volcanic ash and airplanes. It's like sandblasting a jet engine, which is not good. So airlines were all over this. They watched the cloud very carefully and just flew their planes around it. And because the tracking was so good, pretty much everything continued as normal. No major flight chaos, which is great. So, when you step back and look at this whole crazy event, what can we take away from it? Because it was more than just a cool, weird thing that happened in the sky. It was a really powerful lesson from our planet. I think there are two huge takeaways here. First, it just goes to show how connected everything on our planet really is. You know, an event on one side of the world can have a direct impact thousands of kilometers away. And second, it's a huge win for science. The fact that we can track these things in real time, predict where they're going, and make sure people are safe, that's amazing. It shows that we can prepare, and the worst-case scenario doesn't have to happen. It's just a really powerful reminder that up in the atmosphere, there are no borders, no countries. It's all one big shared space. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What else is connecting us all around the globe in ways we don't even see every day? So what did you think was the wildest part of this story? The 12,000-year nap? The Australia-sized cloud? Let me know down in the comments. And hey, if you found this interesting, do me a favor and hit that like button, share it with a friend, and of course, subscribe for more explainers about our amazing world.